to the 100th homecoming game in Athens. We appreciate you, PB. This is Sanford Stadium on a beautiful sun-drenched Saturday afternoon. It's #1 Georgia against Vanderbilt. It's SEC Network football presented by Allstate. What a beautiful scene in Sanford Stadium for the Dogs and the Doors. Let's come inside the press box here on this beautiful homecoming Saturday to his sophomore season. Look at this beautiful backdrop. It is 81 degrees. There is not a cloud in the sky. It's the 82nd meeting between Vandy and Georgia. Vandy owned this series in the early going. In fact, you see the first 10 meetings, they won 14 of the first 24. They've won 6 of the last 57. Their last win was here, Stinch called it, 2016. It's the first meeting in Athens in 4 years. Had that COVID cancellation 2 years ago. Vandy did win the toss, but deferred. Georgia is set to receive. Kearis Jackson watches it run past him. And Stetson Bennett and the Dog offense comes out to the field, Stinch, where they have struggled in the first quarter the last 3 weeks.
And the plays have been there. You go back and watch the tape versus Auburn, and it's inches. It's a decision to cut a football back into unblocked defenders if you press the hole. It's a bad ball out to the edge. Stetson Bennett talked about it. Still completing almost 70% of his passes, but it's been a combination of drops and comfort with the wide receiving core.
Our guy Dario Noka's back in the studio. Don't you worry. He'll keep you posted on Braves and Phillies. Braves are down 4-2 right now. And the Tide and the Vols getting underway too. He'll jump in and tell you what's happening there. Here, immediately it's Kenny McIntosh running hard for 8. It'll be second and short. We have seen McIntosh, Ranson Robinson emerge last week. Dejon Edwards has been terrific. That's what we were talking about with the slow starts. Just 3 points in the last 3 games in the first quarter with 5 punts and a missed field goal. Here's 3rd and 8. Where does Stetson look to move the chains? Surveys the fields, got time, and he's got wide open Rosemy Jack Saint, who's down near the 30-yard line. First down, Georgia. Goes out Dejon Edwards, who was so good in the red zone last week against Auburn. He's standing next to Bennett. Stetson on a design quarterback keeper. Look at how shifty he is. First down, Georgia, near the 14. Play of the drive for Bennett at the 11. It's McIntosh going to the top of your screen. That's where Bennett will throw it. McIntosh makes a move. Touchdown, Georgia. McIntosh, the leading receiver for Georgia this season, out of the backfield. Georgia start faster, check. Score a touchdown in the first quarter, check. In the touchdown pass drought, check. Georgia does all of it in the first drive.
You can't really ask for much more than that. Able to overcome a couple of 3rd and longs there on that drive.
Vandy gets it at the 25. Stinch, how about the move that McIntosh made on that touchdown? Mark Lee said we can't beat ourselves. Already 2 big penalties on their first offensive possession. 3 penalties for 45 yards, and Davis just wants to give punter Matthew Hayball some room. Michael Williams made the tackle for Georgia, and it's 4th down coming up. So all this is about to get decided on who will get back to Atlanta. Bennett roaming in the pocket, and a nice ball to Dylan Bell, the true freshman, and he gets loose. They miss the tackle, and Bell's still free, and he's gone. 66 yards. Stinch, did he lose some footwear here?
Somebody did. Didn't slow him down, though. He kind of double clutches the catch. Secures it. Is he down anywhere?
Jordan Craddock, today's replay official.
After further review, the ball carrier's right elbow was down. Therefore, it'll be Georgia's ball, 1st and 10, just beyond the 45-yard line.
In the first quarter, A.J. Swan, 4th straight start for Vanderbilt after Mike Wright started the first few games. Hasn't turned the ball over yet as the starting quarterback, and hands to Ray Davis after Jamon Dumas-Johnson greeted him. 2-yard pickup. Now Wright started the first couple of games and he had 6 touchdown passes, 4 touchdown runs, but was not accurate enough with the football stench. But they have found a new role for him in the red zone. This guy comes in, uses his legs. Tough for the defense to stop.
There's no doubt. I think we'll see Mike Wright today, especially because Vanderbilt, with only 2 scholarship running backs on the trip, Ray Davis and Patrick Smith, available. And of course, Mike Wright brings that run element to quarterback.
And it's Davis again. Can't get the edge. Look at that closing speed by Christopher Smith.
The initial option, but he certainly emerged on a couple of passing plays.
2nd and call it 4, and that's a back shoulder ball. Somehow Bowers made that catch. Perfectly thrown by Stetson.
I don't know how that ball got to Bowers, because DeRicky Wright, who's already got 3 interceptions on the year, is underneath this pass. Watch number 43. He's actually turned around just enough. And as you mentioned, that's a perfectly placed ball. Just upfield enough for his man to make the catch.
1st and goal. McIntosh takes it straight up the gut, and another touchdown for Kinney. 1 receiving and now 1 rushing.
Pull the backside guard and tackle.
Swan on 1st and 10 turns and hands to Patrick Smith. And Smith won't get much as Ryan Davis makes the tackle. We were talking about that game tonight. Rodgers has thrown for more completions than anybody ever in SEC history. And I don't feel like enough people know that.
Well, and he's done it in short order. And in fact, it was Aaron Burry, the former quarterback here at Georgia's record, who he eclipsed in this past ball game.
3 weeks they've struggled in that first frame, not today, against Vanderbilt. Here they have the football first to start the second, and Dejon Edwards gets free for a 1st down run.
Look at Vanderbilt offensively. They spend a lot of time with 2 tight ends. Georgia practically lives with 2 tight ends on the football field, as you see Darnell Washington now subbing out more completions or something.
Your old buddy. Dejon Edwards comes in. Bennett fakes it to him, throws off the back foot. He's got a wide open receiver, and it's caught inside the 20 by Dominic Blaylock. Fielded that like a punt.
The ball kind of hung up, and it had to. Stetson Bennett had to adjust. Pate Ratledge comes over. They run heavy play action, and Georgia lucky they don't get a holding call. It looked like he tugged Elijah McAllister pretty obviously.
3rd and 4. Kinney has no place to go. Somehow escapes the pressure and gets inside the 10, but looks like he might be half a yard shy.
A great run by Kenny McIntosh. It's to an offensive line, 4th and short. They're going to say, hey, you pick up a yard.
Vanderbilt is barely set. Well, mass substitutions. Georgia 5 for 5 on 4th. It's Dejon Edwards, 1st and goal, Georgia, but a flag does come in at the end of the play.
There's a flag on the play.
Illegal substitution, defense. More than 11 players on the field. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Results in a 1st down.
For wrong reasons.
Edwards stays upright until he gets to the 1.
Edwards carries.
Malik Langham kept him out of the end zone.
Again, Edwards having to throw moves right as he approaches the line of scrimmage. Is Georgia quick over the ball?
See if they try it again. They do. And it's a touchdown.
Touchdown, Georgia.
Swan back in on 2nd and 10. It's Davis. Actually, a fake to Davis. It went to McGowan. He lost the ball, and Georgia picked it up. It has been whistled dead at the 15. Not the recipe you want if you're Clark Lee. His Dogs are back on offense, and Bennett finds a wide open Darnell Washington. Look at Darnell Washington roll down the sideline. Big O is near midfield. 34 yards for the 6'7", 270-pound behemoth.
See Georgia with some urgency here.
Bennett, another completion to McConkey. McConkey's free, and he's tripped up inside the 25 by Jalen Mahoney.
The ball came out so quickly. At first, I thought it was a high pass to Brock Bowers. That thing.
You sound jealous. McIntosh will stands next to Bennett. Stetson plenty of time. And another catch made by Bell down to the 10. 3rd and goal. Somewhere John Stinchcomb is sending a text to Bobo as we speak. Bennett, good ball, and it's another touchdown pass, this time to Dominic Blaylock.
Number 96 for Georgia is now wearing 44.
Don Blaylock fighting his way back from injury. Some targets last week. Great shot from the pylon, Cam. That ball placement. Nice concentration by Blaylock. Georgia finds themselves in the end zone for the 4th time today. And red zone efficiency spiking.
Bama down 28-10 to Tennessee currently.
Special teams gaffes versus an offense that is explosive as Tennessee is and continues to be.
Warren Brinson, the junior from Savannah, in the backfield.
He's been in the backfield quite a bit today.
Timeout. Georgia, the first of the half.
Has been significantly more competitive throughout the majority of their games. Already won more games than they won last year. The Dogs are firing on all cylinders. 3rd and 12 for Vanderbilt. And it's an underneath pass that's caught by Shepard, breaks tackles, and gets the first down. 20-yard pickup. Swan dumps it off. It's Smith. He stays upright, gets the first down, and gets out of bounds with 10 seconds left, and a flag comes in at the end of the play.
Vanderbilt in the first quarter was similar.
Been perfect in the red zone, scoring points. Just 10 seconds left, though, for Swan. He pumps, and he throws it to the bench. Nolan Smith got the hit.
Really the first time that Georgia's been close to Swan. Swan lucky to get that ball off.
Intentional grounding, offense number 13. Penalties to loss of down at the spot of the foul. It'll be 2nd down. Penalty also carries a 10-second runoff. Vanderbilt will use a timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Prolific passing game.
Tennessee still marching against Alabama, up 11 there. This is to get Vanderbilt on the board. From 44 yards, and Bolivis hooked it. No good.
See Clark Lee as he looks on, penalty looms large. A promising drive to end the half. It ends up empty once again. He's completed 14 straight pass attempts.
On 2nd and 3, Good job of avoiding the pressure by McIntosh. He gets the first down, Alyssa.
You guys were talking about how intense these Georgia practices are. Well, I talked to Kenny McIntosh earlier in the week, and he talked about some of the younger guys after that Week 1 win against Oregon. He said that they were all out there saying, yeah, they don't want to be out there with us. They weren't ready for us. And I told them that it goes back to everything that we've been doing during practice, during camp, coaches getting you prepared. He said now that we're in Week 7 and the guys can see that coming to fruition, they're buying in even more.
He kind of fell on that shoulder. Still trying to get that thing loose.
On 2nd and 10, it's Edwards. And Dejon has a first down run, and he gets free down near the 45 where Mahoney trips him up. It's a gain of 20.
5'10", 200-pound frame.
Bennett down the field to McConkey, and that's inside the 30. And Ladd is banged up.
Credit right with the stop.
Boy, that's the last thing you want to see.
See the concern on Stetson Bennett's face.
In 21 career games. You think about the productivity he's had with Bennett. And with Mitchell out, that's the last thing you want to see. 2nd and 6. It's big Darnell Washington, who suddenly has become much more of a focal point in this offense, and he moves the chains.
That likely will be even further exaggerated.
Jackpot Leslie into the ball game.
Got the negative yardage play.
If he makes this, he once again matches Rodrigo Blankenship, who was one of the people honored before the game. And Podlesny and Rodrigo are the most accurate kickers in Georgia history. I feel like we might have said that before. 31-0 Georgia leads Vanderbilt on homecoming. 31-0 Dogs. In 1959, LSU and Ole Miss were two of the top 3 teams in the country, but neither won the SEC. That was Georgia, led by quarterback Fran Tarkenton, who on the biggest play of the year drew up a play in the dirt versus the Auburn Tigers.
This is the play that can give the Bulldogs the Southeastern Conference title. Stratford Stadium has gone absolutely wild. Francis Tarkenton is cool as ice water, with the clock staring him in the face and seconds running out. Fired in the end zone in the left flat. A beautiful pitch to Herron, who took it over his shoulder in the end zone for the TD. Georgia Bulldogs have won the Southeastern Conference Championship for the first time in 11 years.
How about that first ever SEC title? Told Herron to block on the tackle for 3 seconds, run that corner route to that back left flag. Perfect ball, Dogs on top, 14-13. They go on to win the Orange Bowl against Mizzou. They finished 5th in the nation, and really that was kind of the mark of the beginning of Georgia greatness in college football, which clearly still stands in 2022. Boy, they've been good under Kirby Smart, 32-1 since 2017. A.J. Swan gets it off to Davis, and Davis gets a couple of yards as Georgia continues to pitch this shutout. Davis only has 8 yards rushing in the game. He does have a couple of catches, but he's been bottled up.
As the Dogs offense is back on the field, you remember that last possession, wide receiver Ladd McConkey injured on that play. Guys, he went into the injury tent, spent about 5 minutes in there, then he came out, jogged a bit back and forth on the sidelines. I didn't notice any kind of limp, looked to be okay. Helmet is back on, he's back up on the sidelines. He looks to me like he wants to go back in there, guys.
How about our favorite reporter? She was in Lexington at like midnight last night, and here she is all over the scene in Athens. Darnell Washington has become a go-to receiver. It's first down, Alyssa.
Well, we've seen Branson Robinson active quite a bit today, and if you were not familiar with him, you became familiar with him a week ago in that big performance against Auburn. I talked to Kenny McIntosh about his breakout performance a week ago. And you know how these Georgia fans all week have been calling him Baby Chubb? Well, Kenny says we've been calling him that. Every single thing that he does reminds us of Chubb. He said it's pretty identical, but we don't call him Baby Chubb. He did add that since the fan base seems to love the baby part, maybe they'll start calling him Baby Chubb instead.
Bennett, Great pressure, Kane Patterson, that Clemson transfer comes untouched for a loss of 8.
A transfer portal team. They didn't seek improvement from other campuses.
2nd and 18. Bennett down the field, squeezed that in there to Washington. Come on.
They used 2 hands on this one.
It was that way. Javon Curse, Jadeveon Clowney, this guy might be more impressive than them. Bennett, again, that offensive line breaks down, and Stetson goes down for the 2nd time on this drive. Michael Owusu, and it looked like the ball came out.
Well, Bennett's out of that pile without the ball. You saw Vanderbilt jumping in there late. That usually means the ball popped out, but officials signaling Georgia does maintain possession. 2 inside linebackers blitzing, and then, of course, a little bit of edge pressure to force Bennett up. Can they keep a clean pocket? Vanderbilt doing a good job affecting the passer.
Perfect on 4th down this year, and they still are. What a ball to Kearis Jackson.
Wow.
He's passed Rodrigo Blankenship to become the most accurate kicker in Georgia history several times this year before missing a field goal, which knocked him below. If he makes this, he is once again ahead of Rodrigo Blankenship as the most accurate kicker in school history. It's 34-0. The #1 team in the country with 1:40 to go up on Vanderbilt here in the 3rd quarter. All types of Bulldogs, 34-0. Going to the final frame. Carson Beck in at quarterback. Turns and hands to Branson Robinson. Robinson stays on his feet. It's a 1st down for Georgia into Vanderbilt territory. That's what you want to see from a true freshman.
Not just from the running back. This is a heck of an effort by number 22. The big Broderick Jones coming down there from his left tackle spot to give him some push spots.
Beck all day to throw. Perfect ball down to Kearis Jackson to the Vandy 27.
Clean pocket. Really nice protection. 4-man rush. You see Kearis Jackson saying, yeah, feed me. Been missing some key contributors. Developing depth here in the 4th quarter.
Robinson, or Edwards rather, leaves the backfield all day. Perfect ball to Bell for a touchdown. That was too easy.
Number 96 for Georgia is now wearing 44.
In the break, Ole Miss, they're undefeated. They're 9th in the country. I'm not sure they're ready for the Dogs or the Tide.
Ooh.
Swan takes on defenders.
Bear,
Jalen Walker and Bear Alexander greet Mr. Swan.
Seems like an Ole Miss, right? Kentucky without Will Levis dropping the game to South Carolina. How good are the Rebels? They've looked, from a win-loss standpoint, really strong. And as you pointed out, versus this defense, what does that look like? We saw them last week. Then again today, 34 points to that Auburn offense. That's concerning.
Tyke Smith and Dalen Everett coming over there to converge on Jaden McGowan, who didn't get much. 3rd down. Swan on 3rd and 6 just dumps it off to Smith, and Smith gets drilled but short of the 1st down at the 30-yard line. Bullard and Walker were there. Kirby Smart talked about Georgia's defensive communication when you asked him what was the thing maybe he's most impressed by so far this season, and he said that, you think of all the 1st-round talent that they lost last year on that historic defense. This one is communicated incredibly well, especially today.
Yeah, they've been very tied together today, there's no doubt. Bama on the road, they have struggled.
It's kind of like week 17 in the NFL where you're paying attention to a couple games at once. We'll start doing the same thing here. Beck gets out of there somehow, and he shows off the wheels.
Not that, that's smart. Tuck it and run it. Protection was kind of breaking down, nowhere to go with the football downfield.
Beck. Another good ball inside the 25 to Meeks. First down, Georgia after 18 more.
Said it, just drilling it in there.
Alabama's taken the lead on Tennessee with just over 4 minutes to go in the third quarter in Knoxville. Beck. Boy, he's looked good, man. Getting out of the pocket, finding open receivers, and look who makes the catch. Eric Gilbert. Where have you gone, Mr. Gilbert? A 12-yard completion, and the fans still on hand recognize it too. The third quarter, Dogs looking for another touchdown here on the 3rd and goal. Beck, touchdown. Eric Gilbert with a touchdown for the Georgia Bulldogs. After everything this young man has gone through the last couple of years,
Georgia is now wearing 44.
he scores a touchdown for the school he cheered for his whole life.
You can tell his teammates are excited. Nice protection. Actually, Ethan Barr leaking there late. DeRicky Wright couldn't get it out of the hands of Eric Gilbert.
Been the #1 team in college football throughout the year. I realize if Alabama comes back and wins that game, it'd be another huge win. So maybe they'll get some more consideration, but I don't know how you move this Georgia team down after what we've seen today.
Nah, pretty thorough, right? This has been a pretty thorough victory. Put together a strong performance this afternoon versus a Vanderbilt team that gave Ole Miss all they wanted for half a game.
In fact, Alyssa, I would go Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Alabama 3 going into today's action. How did you have it?
Yeah, I have never disagreed. I don't think even with the flip-flopping of #1. Have we ever been through a season like this where the #1 team in the country continues to flip-flop without losing when it comes to Bama and Georgia?
Yeah,
It's interesting.
style points, or not enough of them.
Who can put 50 up first, basically?
And one of those, right? You're talking about one team that spent time at #1 that was without their starting quarterback for an entire game.
All right, short. Patrick Smith. It's going to be 4th down. It's Darius Smith, Jalen Walker come in to make the tackle.
I wonder if they brought in structural engineers up there in Knoxville to make sure Neyland could handle this still. It's been a long time since it's been like this in Neyland Stadium.
If this holds and they win the game, we might be witnessing new goalposts next week.
That's a great point.
They got some new ones in case they won.
Let me tell you this, guys. I've been obviously down here on the sidelines since that Bama-Tennessee game started. And as it has continued, everyone down here is talking about November 5th when Tennessee comes to Athens.
See if Vandy can move the chains on a 4th down. Watch out, Mike. Nyland Green, no one saw him. It's a turnover on downs.
#1, Nyland Green off the edge.
Boy, Mike Wright barely unloads this football. And he had no idea that Nyland Green was bearing down on him.
I realized that they didn't play this game 2 years ago due to COVID. We were supposed to call it. Kirby Smart had to tell us on our Friday call the game wasn't happening. Just COVID 2020 is just wacky. But Georgia gave up 2 field goals to Vanderbilt in the 2019 game. Shut them out 62-0 in Nashville last year. It's going to be 3 consecutive meetings without allowing a touchdown to Vanderbilt.
That's pretty dominant. That's a massive understatement. Almost gave up that field goal, right? The first half.
Cash Jones, house call for the freshman from Brock, Texas. 36 yards. With Georgia, Alabama, and others.
No, I mean, last year was a full-blown rehab job on this roster. Mentally, he had to rehabilitate that team. They're light years different. Now, you'll say, oh, what's the biggest difference? Well, these guys have been competitive. Not today, but in other games they have been.
55-0. Georgia beats Clark Lee and Vanderbilt today. Dogs improved to 7-0 going into the open week next week. They have the Gators in Jacksonville in 2 weeks. Play Tennessee here in 3 weeks. Vanderbilt's 3-4. They're going to Mizzou next week at 4 o'clock on SEC Network to play the Tigers.